Hey guys, it's Dr. KECK at the Sports Pod. Welcome to another episode of our SP Moves. Today we're going to be focusing on our lower extremities, specifically those hamstrings. This is really targeted at soccer players. So if you're a soccer player, this is for you, but it's also for everybody. So first we're going to start with our hamstring smash. So this is all you really need is a ball. I'm going to use this. It actually is easier if you sit on something that is kind of a little bit more elevated, but we're going to make this work. So here we are. You have your lateral hamstrings, that biceps femoris, and then your medial hamstring, which is our semitendinosus and membranosus. So I'm going to start on here, find that lateral hamstring, place the ball here, and then I'm just going to put all of my weight onto this right here. And we're gonna smash it out. So if you are raised up on something, it's good if you can bend and straighten that leg, that movement of the hamstring to get deeper into that muscle. We're creating that time under tension in these hamstrings. We do this for 2 whole minutes. So get comfy. So does anybody have good Netflix recommendations? I've already watched Tiger King. It was fucking crazy. Pardon my French, but it's not even that far from here. I know some people that actually went to that farm. If you haven't watched that, I suggest to watch that. But yeah, I'm looking for any good recommendations for this next week. What else? At least the weather has been nice during this quarantine. Makes it a little easier. Holding it for that 2 minutes. Fell right off the block. Do I switch? Yeah. No? Okay, I'm gonna switch over to that medial side. So I'm going higher up, but really for you, you can find those spots that are kind of not feeling so good. This should be uncomfortable, but you want it to be comfortable enough that you can hold it for those full 2 minutes. So I'm going a little bit higher up. That's where I have a lot of tension, but for you, it may be lower. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm just on that medial hamstring group now, smashing it out. We could all use this, specifically soccer players, but everybody's been sitting a lot. We gotta get moving. What are some fun things besides Netflix that you guys have been doing during this time? I really wanna do a puzzle, but I can't find one. We started playing a lot of Scrabble and Upwards. That's fun. Woo! This doesn't feel so good. So you can do this in as many spots as you want on your hamstring, really getting into those kind of icky spots. This is a really icky spot for me. I started cleaning my kitchen today. We had like 450 glasses and we used like 5 of them. So we got rid of some of those. That was fun. Woo. I know 2 minutes is a long time, but it's that magic number. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we are going to do the same thing on the other leg. So, again, finding the lateral group of hamstrings, placing the ball there, and sitting on it. So all of your hamstrings are coming from that, what we call the ischial tuberosity. It's that like butt bone, like if somebody tells you you have a bony butt. They're talking about that ischial tuberosity. So all 4, oh no, just kidding, 3, the semitendinosus, semimembranosus, and biceps femoris long head all come from that little sticky bone. So that's kind of where I am. That's like right high up in that hamstring. Yeah, it doesn't feel so good on me. What else can we talk about in these long 2 minutes? I don't want to talk about the COVIDs. I'm over it. Everybody should just be doing their part so that we can go back to normal life. So last week, it was really nice outside, and our pool is currently closed because of all of this. So I took my yoga mat to the top of my parking garage and I laid up there. And a lot of people were like, yeah, this is a good idea. And then this one girl was like, I thought about doing this, but I thought it was really weird. And I was like, oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm probably gonna do it again. Woo. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Last little bit of smashing, we're gonna go to that medial side of that hamstring, hitting that semimembranosus and semitendinosus. Whew. So if we're talking action of the hamstring, when it contracts, we have knee flexion or bending of the knee, and we also have hip extension. These are important in both of those things. So for you soccer athletes, when you're running and cutting and things like that, your hamstrings are super important. And most soccer players aren't spending a lot of time with their hamstrings, so they get angry. So we really got to get in there. I've also been playing a lot of golf club, I think it's called, on the Xbox. And also reading some good books. I started reading the book Grit. I highly recommend it. Okay, cool. So after this, we are going to go into what we call a hip car. You've probably seen these before, a controlled articular rotation. Basically, we're gonna take that hip through its widest range of motion, and you're going to control it. So what we're working is to increase that end range of motion in the hip. Okay, so this is actually easiest if you have something to hold on to kind of make yourself a little bit more stable. Just for the sake of this, I'm not going to hold on to anything, but what I want you to focus on is keeping everything besides the hip nice and stable. So the only movement we have is coming from that hip, nowhere else. I don't want you to steal it from your low back. Nowhere, nothing else moves, just that hip, okay? So we are going to start by going up. It should be nice and controlled. Keeping that flexion, we're going to bring it out. I can't go any further. I'm going to internally rotate that leg as I push it back into extension. Extension here. A lot of people will do this. I don't want to see that. Just, it's a little bit, it's okay. Really squeezing that glute, squeezing that hamstring, getting that up. We're halfway there. Now we're gonna go the other way. Externally rotating it, bringing it up as high as you can into flexion, and down. That's one. We're gonna do 5. It's normal for you to feel some crampiness in this. It's actually good. You're just getting into those ranges of motion that your body isn't used to. Cars are an awesome way to prime those joints. And they're also an awesome way to get stronger in those ranges of motion, really explore those different ranges of motion and try to increase it. My other foot is cramping up. I think that was 4. That was actually a challenge on the other foot as well. So now I'm going to switch. This is my base leg. This is the leg I'm going to be bringing into the car. I'll face this way this time. Oh, other leg. Bringing it up into flexion, out into abduction. We're gonna internally rotate as we bring it into extension and down. Everything else is tight. Bringing it into extension. If you have like a broomstick or a PVC pipe or something like that, you can use that to hold on to as well. I should have brought my broom. Woo. It is a challenge to not hold on to anything. And last one. Okay, cool. So that is our controlled articular rotation. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to get into a little bit of a passive stretch here. We're going to, it's called pancake. I'm going to sit on these blocks. You don't have to sit on any blocks. You don't have to sit on anything. You can sit on books, whatever. Am I good? Okay, so I'm going to be here. It's gonna roll away. And then from here, my chest is nice and tall. I'm actually going to turn my body so that you can see me. Okay. Okay, from here, chest is nice and tall. I'm going to lean forward. I don't want the leaning forward to be at your back, at your hips. That's what's going to increase that tension on those hamstrings. So, chest is nice and tall. I'm just leaning into that. This is about as far as I can go. Again, this should be uncomfortable, but not so uncomfortable that you can't hold it for those full 2 minutes. So as you can see, my legs are shaking a little bit. This is probably where I can hold it. As we hold this 2 minutes, I want you to really focus on that hip hinge. I don't want you to start to get into this. That completely takes that tension off of our hamstrings, the point of this. So make sure we're maintaining that really flat back, hinging at the hips in order to get that nice stretch through those hamstrings. And we just hold. My hamstrings are actually incredibly tight. I actually don't think I can touch my toes without bending my legs, which is really sad. I was a gymnast and a cheerleader for a long time. And then I started running and started not really taking care of them. Now I'm paying the price. This is actually the perfect time for everybody to just focus on things like this. You have a lot of time, so you can take 2 minutes each like you're supposed to. Even though it sounds like a long time, it's what we need. My leg is freaking out. I clearly need this. Okay. Lastly, we are going to end with are we doing one more thing? One more of these, okay. We're going to end with one more of these pancakes. So we're just gonna take a nice little break and then we're gonna get right back into it. Challenge yourself to go a little bit further on this last one, okay? Ready? Get those legs out. Again, chest is nice and tall, hinging forward at the hips. No bend through here. Okay. If your feet are flexed, it's gonna get a little bit more of that stretch. When they're pointed, it kind of takes the tension off. So I'm having a hard time on here because it's a little hard, but those should be flexed. And we are hinging at the hips. If we have a little bend in our legs, that's okay. It actually takes a little bit of tension off of that sciatic nerve, and I'm okay with that. We're still getting lots of stretch in that hamstring. Alrighty, so with all of that, we have really taken some good care of our hamstrings. If you have any questions about any of the exercises we are doing here, or if you have questions about really anything at all, you can always find us on Instagram @thesportspod or on the web at www.thesportspod.co.